Hello everyone, it's Chelsea Face again. I hope you're doing well today. Today's video is a little late, but it is my January wrap up and reading log, everything I read in the month of January 2025, so I hope you are excited. First, I read volume 14 of Komi Can't Communicate. This is by Tomohito Oda, and I've just been really enjoying Komi lately. I haven't been picking it up as quickly as I was a few months ago just because I haven't been manga shopping in a couple months, mostly due to a lot of medical bills that I need to pay off, which sucks. It really sucks. I've got a lot of debt that I need to pay off, but I'm still gonna buy manga, but I'm not gonna buy as often. I do have a haul that I want to go and film because I have some money that I want to go spend on it. But for now, I haven't been buying any manga. So I did really enjoy this volume. It was really cute. We got a scene with some fireworks and some retrospective from a different point of view of the walk through the woods scene. So that was really cute and fun. I really did enjoy this. I will be continuing Komi. I do really enjoy reading that one. Next up, I read the final volume, which is a few short stories of Waiting for Spring. This is technically volume 14, but it's not the final volume of the series. Volume 13 was the final volume, but this one just had some little loose ends that it tied up for all the characters. I am officially finished completing reading and collecting this series, which is really, really exciting. If you know, you know. I've been collecting this one for years and I just never really prioritized it until the last year and a half. So I'm very happy to knock this one off of my list and say that it is completed. It will stay on my shelves because I did thoroughly enjoy reading it. If you don't know, this is a light high school romance about friendship and about basketball lightly. There is a team in here. All these guys are on the team. They play basketball together and against each other. I think there's a guy in here that's their rival. And it's just really good and really cute, and I really did enjoy this series. Next up, I did just upload a video of me reviewing this manga, of first impressions of it, and I did not enjoy it, and that is The Eccentric Doctor of the Moonflower Kingdom. This is a really beautiful print. It is a large 7Cs, and I tend to really enjoy 7C series when I read them. I rarely ever just dislike them, but for some reason this just didn't click for me. I was told this is similar to Apothecary Diaries mixed with just some isekai fantasy elements, but not isekai. This is not an isekai that I know of. But I just didn't like this. I was bored. The artwork was kind of mid at certain points. I think I was just expected to really get into it really quickly and get into what's happening and care about these characters very quickly, and it just didn't click for me. But if you want to see my full-fledged first impressions, it's in the description, so go check that out. Watch the whole video, let me know your thoughts. I did do some extra editing in that video. If you didn't notice, let me know your thoughts on that as well if you're someone who's been watching my channel for a while, and let me know if you like that editing style or if you prefer a more simple back to what I was doing, because it was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll go that hard on every video, but I think I want to start adding a little bit more, whether that be little skits or just funny editing to my manga videos. So just let me know your thoughts on that video, please. Next up, I have volume 9 of Crossplay Love Otaku X Punk. This one is as good as it has been. I do wish it would wrap up very quickly because I worry that it's going to get annoying and repetitive if it keeps going too much further. I think it is complete at like the early teens. Let me know if you know for sure in the comments. I did look it up a few weeks ago, but gosh, it's been so long I do not remember. But I do really like this series still. It's not really going much anywhere, which I guess is kind of just like a slice of life element that you're gonna get with this. I do really hope that the two guys find out about each other and that it's not a train wreck like they're making it out to be. I do really love the characters in this series. It's a very heavily character driven series and it's really cute. The artwork's fun. I love this. All right, and the last two manga, and then I have a book, but the last two manga I read are adult only, so if you're not an adult, do not listen to this part, or you can say bye now. Bye. I read volume 6 of Ladies on Top, which is the final volume of this series. It feels wonderful to complete another series in my collection. This is just a fantastic little romance, kind of raunchy, themed manga. It doesn't show a ton inside here, but it is very, very adult themed. So it is pretty much what you think based off of the title. It's a switching roles kind of situation, and it's really cute. It's really fun. I really enjoyed some of the conversations that were had in this series, so I'm really, really glad that I did choose to try this one. Next, I have volume 1 of a continuation of another Seven Seas steamship, and that is I'll Never Be Your Crown Princess Betrothed. This series is really fun. I think the original one was 3 volumes, and I did collect that back here, and I liked it. I think it's got some really interesting fantasy elements that are coming through in the story. It is a lot of smut, but there is also some story in here that's really interesting to me. And some kind of magic system that I'm trying to understand. And this was fun. It was a good time. I think our main girl who was isekai'd into this world is starting to really like her partner. There's a lot of smut in this, a lot of graphic nudity, so just be prepared for that if you pick it up. You do need to read the original series before you pick this one up though, so just be sure to do that. And the final thing that I read in January is a book. It is a short story collection by one of my favorite authors now. Her name is Sayaka Murata, and this is Life Ceremony. She's the same creator who wrote Convenience Store Woman and Earthlings, and I loved both of those books last year. They were fantastic reads, and so I'm really happy that I finally read this one. So now I've read all 3 of her books that have been translated to English, and there is one coming out this year, which I forgot what it's called, but I'll put a picture of it right here, and I have already pre-ordered it with my local indie bookstore. So if you are someone who is a fan of this author, please check out their new works. And if you are interested, this is a good little sampling of their work. It is a bunch of short stories. It mostly has to do with food or things involving food, but a lot of it is just humans and the human experience within different worlds. Some of them are very simple. Some of them are very creepy. Some of them are very gross and graphic, slightly traumatizing. I like to describe Sayaka Murata's work as slightly traumatizing, and I don't know how to explain that any further. But some of her works are very, very dark and very, very gruesome and triggering for sure. And then some of them are real light and fluffy. So it's really interesting. I love her. I love her writing. I think Convenience Store Woman's probably the safest one to read. Then this one, and then Earthlings is probably the most unhinged. If you are someone who really doesn't care about triggers or just really wants to read something effed up, I recommend Earthlings. It was my favorite book last year. So I do recommend all of her work. Hi guys, so I'm inserting this clip later because I totally forgot to mention that I read The Shining by Stephen King. I don't know why I forgot, because this was one of those books that I've been wanting to read for years, and I finally got around to it. I think it's because I just didn't have it physically in my stack for some reason, but I did read The Shining by Stephen King finally. I purchased a bunch of old hardcover Stephen King books and a couple of paperbacks from one of my cousins at Thanksgiving, and I was really, really excited because a lot of them I haven't read. I haven't read a ton of Stephen King. I think I've only read 3 or 4 now, and I really, really love Stephen King. He's definitely grown as a person and isn't perfect and has written a lot of really messed up stuff. But I think that his horror, especially back in the 80s, 90s, were fantastic. So I am on a journey to read a lot of his stuff. I don't know if I'll ever read all of it just because I'm not super into a lot of fantasy that I think he has written. But I have read a few of his books, and I will continue to do so. The Shining, if you don't know, is I had originally seen the movie years ago, and I watch it all the time. It's one of my favorite movies out there. It's so weird, it's so creepy, it's so ominous and interestingly paced. And I was like, you know what? I've heard that the Stephen King doesn't like the movie adaptation, so I want to read his vision of The Shining. So that's what I did, and it's like less than 400 pages, the copy that I read. So it really wasn't that long of a book, but it did take me a really long time to actually physically read this. Mostly because Stephen King writes pretty densely and he describes most things down to a T. Like, he's not gonna let you walk away from a medicine cabinet without knowing every single detail and every content that is in that medicine cabinet. So it's just his style of writing. The Shining is about this hotel called the Overlook Hotel. It operates in the mountains and it snows down there for 4 or 5 months. And he needs someone to caretake over it for that period of time when no one can come up there and stay, and like they're off season. So our main character Jack, he agrees to be the caretaker and he gets paid to do it, and he brings his family along with him. He has a young son named Danny, and then his wife, who Cheryl, I forget her name too, but he brings his family with him, and they get shown around the place. They show them the kitchen, how to do everything. There's this boiler. In the movie it wasn't in there, but it's in the book, where it's an old boiler that keeps the place heated properly, but it does creep up in temperature. So Jack is told that he has to keep that regulated below a certain temperature or the place will explode. And that's a really interesting little element to add to the story that I didn't really know was supposed to be there, because the whole time this story's going on, Jack has to think about this. He has to keep this in mind. He has a lot of responsibilities taking care of this place, much more so than the movie. I think the movie, it just kind of seemed like it took care of itself. It was just a really interesting horror story about a haunted hotel. And if you've seen the movie and you haven't read the book, you may be like unclear as to what was actually happening in the movie, because it kind of makes you wonder, is it all in his head? Is it actually a haunted hotel, or is there like a supernatural element to this, or is this all just in his head? And from reading the book, it's definitely a haunted hotel. So I have been confirmed that it's not just him losing his mind in isolation in this location. It is literally the hotel is haunted, which was really nice to know. There were a couple of nods to the book in the movie that me and Jonathan were very confused by because we hadn't read it. But now that I've read it, I get what those references are. Like there was a man in a dog suit, and I finally know what that's about. I will say there were some scenes that aren't in the book that were in the movie that I do miss. There were some scenes in the book that were not in the movie that I wish had been in the movie. Particularly a scene involving the hedge animals. Like there's no hedge animals in the movie, there's just a hedge maze, and that maze is not in the book, but there are animals made out of hedging. Stephen King has this way of writing something that otherwise would be super dumb and silly and making it horrifying, and that was one of those examples of me just reading it being like horrified to turn the page, because it was just so eerie and creepy the whole time. I really loved it. It was a fantastic book. Of course there's a lot of really outdated slurs for you know, black people and gay people in this book. Definitely if you are triggered by things like that, do not read this. I do not think it has been edited in new versions at all, because it is a product of its time, and Stephen King has definitely changed the way that he writes. But this definitely had a lot of that in it, so be prepared. It didn't have that much at the beginning, but after like the latter half of the book, it really kicks up with the racist and homosexually charged bigotry in it. So yeah, just wanted to warn you about that. But other than those things, it was a fantastic novel. I really enjoyed it, and I will be continuing more Stephen King in the future. I don't know what I'll pick up next, but didn't want to forget that one in this video. Appreciate you guys watching my video, and I hope that you will like, comment, and subscribe for more content from me, and I will see you in the next video.